Hey guys, today we'll be doing a long-term review of the iPhone 16 Pro. I've been using it since it was released a couple of months ago, and in my opinion, let me resume this for you, is one of the best iPhones Apple has ever made. And I'm not like talking about like marketing terms, like Apple says that every year, but that's really one of the best iPhones I've used. It's the most complete Pro iPhone ever. And I'm gonna explain you why, but I'm also gonna explain you why the experience was ruined because of Apple as well, but not because of the iPhone itself. As you can see, it's a very fast processor, okay? The A18 Pro is a big improvement compared to the A17 Pro. The iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max, last year they had loads of overheating issues because the A17 Pro wasn't as well optimized. The thermal management was horrible as well, you know. Things have improved a lot since then. The A18 Pro is a much better processor. Even for gaming, I don't do gaming too much. I like playing Total War games, the ones from mobile, and it works very well. I do play Call of Duty sometimes, and no overheating at all. The brightness from the screen doesn't go down as before when you had overheating, you know. It's much better. The screen, as you can see, is amazing. Especially, is a very underrated thing. The bezels this year are just much smaller, at the point that I've never seen a phone with such small bezels before. The resolution is fine, it's just over Full HD, 120 Hz, you know, OLED, everything's okay. It could be better though, right? Like we have phones like the S24 Ultra that has a much better screen, higher resolution, you know, and non-reflective as well. So Apple could do this on the iPhone 17, you know. I'm just saying, this is a good screen, very good, but not excellent, you know. It's not the best out there, and for the price I wish for a Pro phone we had more. The size is actually very good. It's a perfect size, you know. It's not too big and it's not too small. 6.3 inches, I think that's like perfect. The sound quality is just extraordinary, you know. iPhones have always had one of the best sound qualities out there for phones. I think the only phone that has a better sound quality for the speakers is, not better, but I think similar, is the Xperia 1 Mark V from Sony. Which they have front firing stereo speakers, but the speakers used on the iPhone are just unmatched. You know, I had an S24 Ultra, and the speakers are very good, but not as good as the iPhone, you know. That's just, the speakers, the sound is just amazing. Now let's talk about the cameras, okay? The cameras are very, very good, very strong. I love just how portraits come out on the iPhone. And this year, I think we have small improvements, but big improvements if you have the iPhone 16 Pro, which is the one I'm reviewing right now, not the Pro Max. Because last year, the 15 Pro had a 3x zoom camera, and this year we have a 5x zoom camera, and it does make a big difference, okay? I didn't think it would have made a big impact, but it did, you know. I'm using the 5x camera a lot of the time, and it's a really good quality 5x camera, okay? People say, oh, it's not, it's bad, it's okay. No, it's really good 5x camera. It's not as good as the one on the S24 Ultra, but it gets pretty close, you know. We also have a new ultra-wide camera, 48 megapixels camera compared to last year, but it's very unremarkable, you know. It actually has the same sensor size as the 12 megapixels camera on last year, but they just added the 48 megapixels instead of 12, which results in much smaller pixels on the camera. So the ultra-wide camera in low light is actually much worse compared to the 12 megapixels last year, which is crazy, honestly. However, with good light, the ultra-wide camera is slightly better compared to last year, but in low light it's worse. So do you think it's worth it? What do you use your ultra-wide camera more, during the day or during the night? I think that's a good question. Anyways, as you can see on those examples, I don't really like the ultra-wide camera. I think that's the only weak point from this phone, you know. If they included a bigger sensor on the ultra-wide camera, it could have been the perfect iPhone, because the main camera is actually amazing from the iPhone 16 Pro Max or 16 Pro, whatever, because it's the same 48 megapixel sensor that they had in the 14 Pro and 15 Pro, which they downsized to 24, which makes pictures just sharper than most other phones that downsize their pictures to 12 megapixels. However, the ultra-wide camera, which is 48 megapixels, they downsize it to 12, not 24, like they do on the main camera, which results in pictures that are not as sharp. And that's something Apple could have done with software, you know. You can take 48 megapixels photos with the ultra-wide camera, but you have to shoot in RAW or HEIF Max. So, you know, it's not the same. However, it's okay, you know. As you can see, the photos are not bad from the ultra-wide camera. They're just not impressive, you know. As I told you, I just love the portrait mode photos from the iPhone 16 Pro. The bokeh looks very realistic. Look at this 2x digital zoom photo. I just love how good it looks, you know. It looks like it's optical, but it's not. It's because of the 48 megapixel sensor. As you can see, I love the portrait mode photos. Look at that. It looks very nice, even with animals and stuff. Fun fact, you can actually take some really nice macro photos with the 5x zoom camera, as you can see, especially if you're shooting RAW and then you edit after. Look how detailed it is. And it's still 12 megapixels. The 5x zoom camera, I think, is the star of this phone, along with the main camera. The ultra wide is just meh. You can take some amazing photos, especially that now you can take portrait mode photos, not just only 1, 2 or 3x, but you can go between 1 and 5x, you know. The camera control button is actually pretty useless, at least for me. I haven't used it much, but one good thing you can do with it is you can adjust how far you want your portrait mode photos. So between 1, 1.2, 1.3, 2, 2.5, 3 times portrait mode photo, you know, up to 5x. Anyways, look at how good it looks, the 5x camera. In video, it actually, it's not much different from last year. The only big difference on video this year is that actually you can do 4K 120. Wow, finally, right? But you can only use the main lens and 2x digital zoom for 4K 120. Why Apple hasn't used the 5x camera for 4K 120, you know? I mean, the processor is more than strong enough. And we are in 2024, 3 years after cinematic mode has been introduced, and we still don't have cinematic mode in with the zoom camera, with the 5x zoom camera or the ultra wide cameras. Why? I mean, why? Come on, Apple. But in general, the cameras are really good this year, really strong, and a big improvement, especially if you came from the 15 Pro. The battery is actually a really good improvement. The 15 Pro last year and 14 Pro had like 4 hours of screen on time. And this year, we actually have around 6 hours of screen on time, which is a big improvement. It's probably because the screen size now is slightly larger. But now let's talk about the big elephant in the room. Siri, or Apple Intelligence, whatever you want to call it, or lack of intelligence, right? I actually tested this, and I'm going to show you soon, but I think it's part of the iOS 18 update, which is the big reason I told you in the beginning, which made this iPhone 16 Pro and 16 Pro Max amazing phones destroyed by software. A little test comparing Siri to Gemini from Google. When was the iPhone 7 released? You can find details on all Apple products at apple.com. Hey Siri, when was the S22 released? Do you want me to use ChatGPT to answer that? Yes. I kept waiting and waiting almost a minute to get this message here. Can you see? Come on. Let's try now on Android, okay? Hey Google, when was the iPhone 7 released? The iPhone 7 was released on September 16th, 2016. Hey Google, when was the S22 released? The Samsung Galaxy S22 series was released on February 25th, 2022. Can you guys see the difference? I mean, the Siri actually looks to be worse this year compared to iOS 17. I honestly don't know what's happening. I mean, if Steve Jobs was around, you know, he would be crazy right now. He would be really mad. I don't know what's happening, honestly. And I think if Apple just makes such a bad Apple Intelligence, you know, just don't give us AI. Not many people care about AI, but if you want to give AI and make a big deal about it, make it actually good, because otherwise you're just making things worse. Because actually the 15 Pro to the 16 Pro, the upgrade this year, is actually really good. The AI, to be honest, in my opinion, is not a big deal. I think just as a phone, the 16 Pro and 16 Pro Max without AI, they're really great, you know, but they're actually ruined by a bad iOS 18 full of bugs, you know, ghost touches, you know, apps crashing, things don't working properly, you know, and a bad Apple Intelligence. So, you know, I think the big mess up this year that Apple made is in general software, which is crazy because Apple normally is known for the best software. However, they are destroying their unique selling point.